Have you ever felt it? The quiet shift in a room? A smile that doesn't reach the eyes? A nod that lands hollow? Not a dramatic betrayal, but the slow, silent erosion of respect. Respect doesn't shout, it whispers. And if you miss the whisper, the room moves on without you. That's the danger. We tell ourselves it's nothing. Everyone does this, but it isn't nothing. It's the tiny daily choices, arriving late, tossing a rumor, breaking a small promise, that decide whether people lean toward you or quietly lean away. You've seen it, the awkward half smile after you speak, the "we should catch up" that never happens, the message left unread. So let me ask you, when was the last time someone's eyes changed when they looked at you? Not from a single mistake, but from a signal you kept sending? Respect doesn't fall overnight. It leaks through hairline cracks you refuse to notice. And here's the cruel truth. The world rarely announces when it stops respecting you. It doesn't argue, it doesn't warn, it just drifts. Respect doesn't collapse in noise, it leaks in whispers. Pause. Let that land. If you don't catch these habits early, you'll wake up one morning to polite smiles without trust, nods without follow-through, conversations without confession. Respect isn't a gift others hand you. It's a mirror, and it reflects what you choose every single day. Don't just nod. Prove you're serious. Hit like now. Make this your first act of discipline. Not later, not someday. Now. Today we'll expose 4 quiet habits that destroy respect. Some will sting, some will feel uncomfortably familiar. But once you see them, you won't move through the world the same way again. Stay, because this might be the mirror you've been avoiding. And listen closely, because respect doesn't shout. It whispers. Habit 1. Gossip. The poison that pretends to be connection. Gossip feels harmless. It drifts into conversations like background noise, between bites of lunch, over coffee with friends, in the pauses of family dinners. It wears the mask of entertainment, of bonding, of a quick laugh that makes the day feel lighter. But gossip is not connection. Gossip is corrosion. Here's the brutal truth. If someone gossips with you, they will gossip about you. And the moment you join in, even just a smirk, you silently announce, "I cannot be trusted." Respect doesn't collapse in noise. It evaporates in whispers. Back in my university years, gossip was the currency of belonging. We joked about who was dating who failed which exam. It felt harmless. Until one day, a private detail about a classmate, let's call her Maria, spread like wildfire. By the end of the week, she stopped talking to almost everyone. She didn't scream, she didn't confront, she just walked away. And the silence she left behind weighed heavier than any insult. That's when I realized, gossip doesn't just wound reputations, it shatters trust. And I wasn't innocent either. I laughed along, thought mocking others made me look sharp. In truth, it made me small. Years later, people remembered me less for my presence and more for my willingness to tear others down. That memory stings like smoke that clings to your clothes long after the fire is gone. The Stoics saw this clearly. Marcus Aurelius warned, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Gossip doesn't just touch others, it stains you. Every rumor is a drop of dye seeping into who you are. Pause. Let that land. Because gossip doesn't only betray others, it betrays you. Each time you spread it, you trade integrity for approval. You teach yourself that to belong, you must diminish. And little by little, that habit carves you smaller every day. Flip the lens. Have you noticed how magnetic it feels when someone refuses to gossip? Everyone else whispers, and one person says calmly, "Let's talk about something else." The room shifts. Their silence carries more weight than 100 words. That's respect being built in real time. And here's the irony. We think gossip makes us interesting. In reality, it just makes us predictable. The loudest whispers in the room are always the weakest voices. Respect doesn't shout, it whispers. So here's your practice for today. The next time gossip begins, test yourself. Stay silent. Notice how heavy that silence feels and how powerful. Replace one rumor with one real question. What's been inspiring you lately? Or what challenge are you working on? Watch how quickly the air turns from toxic to alive. Now let me call you out. How many conversations in the last week left you lighter, and how many left you dirty? If you can't tell the difference, gossip has already numbed your compass. Respect begins with one daily choice. Refuse to spread what doesn't build. Choose ideas, not people. Energy, not downfall. Because every rumor is a receipt, and sooner or later you'll pay. So tell me, when people leave a conversation with you, do they feel safer or smaller? Habit 2, unreliability, the broken currency of your word. Respect collapses quickly when your words stop meaning what they say. In a world drowning in promises, "I'll call you tomorrow." Count on me. Of course I'll be there. The real scarcity isn't talent or intelligence, it's reliability. Every broken promise is like counterfeit money. You can spend it once, maybe twice, but soon no one accepts it. I used to think flexibility was a virtue. I said yes to everything, out of politeness, ego, or fear of missing out. And when the moment came, I canceled, delayed, disappeared. I told myself I was being spontaneous. In truth, I was being selfish and unreliable. One memory still cuts deep. Clara, a close friend, spent weeks preparing her birthday celebration. She obsessed over details, the food, the lights, even the playlist, looping her favorite songs. I told her, "I'll be there." Wouldn't miss it for the world. But that evening, I got caught in distractions. By the time I arrived, music was already fading, candles were burning low. Clara smiled politely, but her eyes told another story. It wasn't anger, it was absence. The party continued, but trust didn't. What I lost wasn't just an invitation. It was a piece of credibility, gone forever. Pause. Let that sink in. Because unreliability doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers, in lateness, in excuse, in a text sent too late. And here's the sting. People rarely call you out. They just stop calling. One day you notice the invitations grow fewer. Not because they dislike you, but because they can't depend on you. Respect doesn't shout, it whispers. And when it stops whispering your name, you're already gone. The Stoics saw this clearly. Epictetus wrote, "First say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do." Reliability isn't about perfection, it's about alignment. Your word is your contract, even without ink. Think about it. The people you trust most, are they the smartest, the loudest, the most charismatic? Or simply the ones who do what they said they would? Reliability isn't glamorous, but it is magnetic. It builds empires. And let me admit something. I used to double book dinners, swear I'd make it work, then cancel one at the last minute. At the time, I thought I was being charming. In reality, I was just proving my word was cheap. Spoiler, no one laughed. Here's your practice for today. Stop over-promising. If you know you can't, say no. Honesty builds more respect than false kindness. When you commit, treat it like a binding contract. Show up 5 minutes early, communicate clearly, Protect your word like it's currency, because it is. Now let me call you out. When people hear your name, do they feel relief? Yes, I can count on them. Or hesitation? Let's wait and see. Because in the end, respect doesn't vanish in betrayal, it vanishes in broken words. And once your word is worthless, rebuilding it is the hardest work you'll ever do. So I'll leave you with this haunting question. If your word were money, would people still accept it? Or has it already been declared counterfeit? Habit 3, interrupting. When anxiety speaks louder than respect, interrupting feels small, almost harmless. You tell yourself, I'm just engaged. I'm showing interest. I'm helping move the conversation forward. But beneath that excuse, every interruption carries the same hidden message. My voice matters more than yours. And nothing erodes respect faster than that. Picture this. A meeting room, papers rustling, pens tapping. One person carefully laying out their idea, voice steady. Then, yeah, but actually someone cuts in mid-sentence. The speaker's eyes drop, their words evaporate. The air shifts, heavy, like oxygen just got thinner. Respect leaked out of the room, not with yelling, with one careless interruption. Pause. Let that sink in. I know because I was that person. Early in my career, my anxiety was louder than my patience. I thought jumping in made me look sharp. In reality, I looked desperate. I didn't just interrupt people. I finished their sentence and often finished them wrong. Pro tip, nothing says I'm not listening like confidently ending someone's thought with the opposite of what they meant. At the time, I thought I was being clever. Looking back, I was just being noisy. Here's the paradox. The people who listen fully often command the most authority. Presence has gravity. Silence carries weight. When you hold your tongue until someone finishes, your words strike harder because they're built on actual listening. The Stoics understood this deeply. Epictetus reminded us, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we may listen twice as much as we speak. Listening isn't weakness, it's strength wearing the mask of humility. It tells the other person, you matter. Your voice has weight, and that's where respect is born. And here's the twist. Interrupting doesn't just disrespect others. It robs you. Every time you cut someone off, you steal your own chance to learn. You prove you're hearing but not listening, and people can always tell the difference. So here's your practice for today. In your next conversation, let the other person finish completely. Then silently count to 3 before responding. Those 3 seconds feel like forever at first, but that pause is where respect grows. When the urge to interrupt surges, write your thought down instead of blurting it out. By the time they finish, you'll either phrase it better or realize you don't need to say it at all. Now let me call you out. Are you actually listening or just waiting for your turn? Respect isn't built in speeches. It isn't built in clever interruptions. Respect whispers through silence, and silence when chosen is louder than words. Habit 4, complaining. The addiction that destroys your energy. Everyone complains about traffic, about deadlines, about the weather. Complaining feels like pressure escaping a valve. Briefly satisfying, briefly powerful. But when it becomes your reflex, it's no longer relief. It's identity, and identity is heavy. I remember stepping into a break room once. Coffee machines humming, chairs scraping, a chorus of voices layering one on top of another. The boss is impossible. The clients are clueless. The pay is terrible. The air grew thicker by the minute, like smoke in a room without windows. 10 minutes inside and I walked out more exhausted than when I walked in. That's what chronic complaining spoons. It doesn't just drain the complainer, it drains everyone within earshot. Pause. Breathe that in. There was a time when I carried that same energy. If it rained, I cursed the sky. If it was hot, I cursed the sun. If someone wronged me, I replayed it like a broken song on loop. And one day a friend told me flatly, "It feels like nothing is ever enough for you." I laughed it off, but later, staring at the ceiling at night, I realized he was right. I wasn't venting. I was rehearsing helplessness. Here's the cruel twist. Complaining feels powerful in the moment, but it's powerless in the long run. Each complaint is like drinking salt water. It gives the illusion of relief, but leaves you thirstier, weaker, emptier. And when people sense that cycle in you, respect evaporates. Because no one respects the energy of defeat. The Stoics gave us a sharper tool than complaint. The question, is this within my control? If yes, ought. If no, accept. The storm outside won't stop because you sigh. The traffic won't move because you curse. But your attitude, that's yours to command. And complaining is contagious. Spend an hour with someone who spots problems everywhere, and you'll leave carrying their heaviness. But gratitude is contagious too. One genuine word of appreciation can light up a room more than an hour of criticism ever could. I once worked with a man who rarely complained. Deadlines, mistakes, pressure. He acknowledged them but never fed them. Instead, he asked, "What can we do?" That single question didn't just earn results. It lifted the entire room. While others drowned in problems, he carried solutions. That's when I understood leadership is not the loudest noise. It's the calmest presence under pressure. Here's your practice for today. Catch one complaint before it escapes your mouth. Replace it with one action or one acceptance. Before bed, write down 3 things you're grateful for. Train your radar to search for light instead of shadows. Now let me call you out. Are your words fueling storms or clearing skies? Do people leave your presence drained or lighter? Respect isn't just about power or influence, it's about vibration. People are drawn to those who carry solutions the way a desert longs for rain. So the next time you feel the urge to complain, pause and ask, is this under my control? If yes, act. If no, release. That simple shift can save you years of wasted energy and rebuild the respect you thought you'd lost. Because respect isn't born from the battles you win outside. It's born from the calm you cultivate inside. And when people remember you, let them recall not the storm you carried, but the sky you brought into the room. The kind of sky that clears heavy air. The kind of sky that makes others breathe easier. The kind of sky that lives in the eyes of someone who learned respect doesn't shout, it whispers. Respect isn't stolen in a single blow. It's surrendered quietly, habit by habit. Gossip corrodes trust. Unreliability empties the value of your word. Interrupting silences the voices around you. Complaining poisons the very air you carry. Each one feels small in the moment, but together they decide how the world responds to you and how you respond to yourself. The good news is this: habits can be replaced. Gossip can give way to silence. Broken promises can give way to integrity. Interruption can give way to presence. Complaining can give way to gratitude. The mirror doesn't lie, but it always offers you another chance to adjust what it reflects. So here's my challenge for you. Don't just nod and move on. Choose one of these 4 habits, just one, and end it today. Not tomorrow, not someday, today. Because respect doesn't return through applause. It returns through alignment. And when the noise of the world fades, people will forget your words, your victories, even your failures. but they will never forget how they felt standing in your presence. That memory is carved not by grand gestures, but by the habits you choose when no one is watching. Type it in the comments. Which habit ends today? Declare it publicly, because the moment you name it, you own it, and the moment you own it, you kill it. Walk forward lighter, fewer excuses, fewer whispers, fewer storms. Carry integrity in your silence and gravity in your word. And when tomorrow comes, the mirror won't accuse you. It will honor you. Pause. Let that settle. Because in the end, respect doesn't shout, it whispers. And the question you must leave with is this: when people stand before you, what kind of whisper will they hear?